That's your thoughts on that. That's your thoughts on thoughts. And my thoughts are, let's move on. We have the WWE Tag Team Championship on the line. Gold Star versus Mark Henry and Big Show. And man, the punches just kept on rolling with this one because as slow paced as this match might have been, within the first 2 minutes, they started teasing at it. The Mark Henry heel turn that we all felt was coming. And they went to a commercial and I was just like, oh God, what are they going to do? Are they going to come back and it's just going to be Big Show laying flattened out in the middle of the ring with Gold Star posing over him with the titles and Mark Henry at the top of the ramp, and commentary is going to be like, ladies and gentlemen, during the break, if you missed it on the app, you missed it. We had Mark Henry knocking the Big Show out and giving him the world's strongest slam and he just walked off. And no, they didn't do that. They actually let it play out on TV, which I was super happy about. So Big Show hits the knockout punch on I forget who it was, one of the Dust Brothers.
It was Stardust, and then he threw Goldust out of the ring.
Yeah, and then Mark Henry, as Big Show's getting ready to go for the pin on Stardust, Mark Henry gets into the ring, reaching out for a tag like he wants the Big Show to let him get the pin, and the Big Show's talking to him like, what are you talking about? And then Mark Henry hits him with the world's strongest slam. It was awesome.
And then he dragged Stardust on a Big over the win. I mean, there was so much meme and or t-shirt potential in this match. It was ridiculous.
You don't get to put your hands on me.
You tagged me like you didn't know me. And then my personal favorite, after like the second or third World's Strongest Slam, because he beat Big Show's ass. And he's just like, ain't nobody chump me. And I'm just like, nobody was trying to, Mark, I promise.
He is so gold as a heel, dude. This is, I mean, the Mark Henry formula seems to be turn heel, get hurt after a month, return babyface, lather, rinse, repeat.
Yeah.
And I just hope he can stick around long enough for this one to blow off.
Yeah, dude, definitely. Because if he wasn't so injury prone, how many times have I told you both in conversation and on TwitWow that this is a gimmick that just works so beautifully with Mark Henry that had it clicked with him a decade earlier, I believe he would be a former WWE champion.
Yeah, we've had this conversation so many times.
Yeah, though. Yeah, and because it always holds true, and it held true again tonight. This was fantastic. He's back in his element. He's back where he should be. To me, I always felt like him being a babyface, it was disingenuous. Like, it just came off so clunky and awkward to me. But here, I just readily embraced it, and I'm like, welcome home, Mark.
Yeah, it was 3 World's Strongest Slams, and then he hit a World's Strongest Splash on Big Show, and then he did a little more trash talk and left while his music was playing. But then we had a commercial, and when we came back, Renee Young caught up with him, and he said the Big Show is jealous of him, always has been and always will be, and this is, I mean, I don't care if this is our jumping off point, I just want this Mark Henry to stick around forever.
Yeah. Absolutely. Nothing more I can really say than that. I love this. Gold Star still the tag team champions, and Mark Henry is a heel, and we're going to do Mark Henry and Big Show all over again, and I've got no qualms about that. So.
Exactly. Up next, we had a video package on Roman Reigns, and honestly, this was kind of one of those moments where it kind of sucked all of the momentum out of the room. We got Reigns live via satellite. He said he's getting better every day, and there's nothing cool about being on the sidelines, and he'd do anything to be in San Antonio. Cheap pop. JBL asks about Rollins Ambrose at Hell in a Cell. Reigns says that Ambrose is his boy, and he knew he would bring it, and that Rollins is a weasel, and he proved that last night. He said that Rollins is trying to prove that he's the future of the WWE, but when Reigns is medically cleared, he's going to make Rollins the past. Believe that. And before you say anything, I just really want to get this out there. Roman Reigns needs to let go of Believe That. Believe in the Shield worked. Believe That has such a small shelf life. It should have been gone months ago.
I really have no opinion as far as that's concerned. I mean, if he wants to upgrade to a better catchphrase, great. If he wants to keep it, I guess it's not the worst thing in the world.
He would be better off going with something that plays off of his name. Like Roman's gonna reign supreme. Something like that.
Yeah.
As unoriginal as it may be, it's better than saying Believe That at the end of every line. That's like when CM Punk had that amazing feud with Chris Jericho, and he would cut this great impassioned promo, and then at the very end of it, he would tag on, and that's because I'm the best in the world. It just made it feel like it was forced and unnatural and cheesy and disingenuous.
Right, right.
And it's the same
Um,
thing with Reigns with Believe That. But yeah, go ahead and talk now.
I was just gonna say, not really much to say here. It just seemed like a very generic babyface promo. I mean, so much so that he did the cheap pop with San Antonio,
I'd do
and
anything to be in San Antonio.
okay. Um, called out Seth Rollins, so I guess Seth Rollins will be in his sights when he comes back. That's cool, I guess. And really nothing more to say than that. I
You
mean,
don't even know.
I really don't even know because Roman Reigns, here's the thing. When he speaks in short spurts, like he did with the Shield, and like he did, when he went on his own for that little bit, it's great because I do not feel like this is a man that can succeed in my eyes at long drawn out promos. And even though this wasn't necessarily long or drawn out, just the whole format of like question and answer and going on a little bit, it's like no, it just gets awkward for me. So I want Roman back in his element where he's just menacing, and a badass. He's too human right now, saying, "Oh, I wish I could be there in San Antonio." Like, no, no, bad Roman. So, that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah. I mean, I I actually have some relevant commentary here. Not we, I watched the Monday Night War episode from last week that featured Goldberg in it. And it really made me think of Reigns because the whole thing with Goldberg was his mystique. Goldberg was an unstoppable monster who was in a position where he was booked so strongly that all he needed to do was show up, have a 2-minute squash match, and then leave. And the spectacle was more in his entrance than in his in-ring ability. But he had those two moves, the frickin' spear and the jackhammer, and that's all he had to do in the ring, and people were happy, and people blew up for it, and the whole thing was awesome, and they built him up. He was 173-0, and then he lost because of a taser, and the entire thing went downhill because they humanized him, and it doesn't matter how unstoppable you've been before. When your entire gimmick is based on being undefeated and you lose, you might as well just retire at that point because you're done. But Roman Reigns reminds me a lot of Goldberg, not in the undefeated sense, but in the sense that all of the spectacle is about this mystique around him and not based on anything that he actually does, because all he has, a lot like Goldberg, is the Superman punch and the spear. He has some other cool stuff that he does too. Really, the only other thing that I can think of in particular is the apron drop kick. But he is incredibly similar to Goldberg. He is not a very skilled talker, so they tell him to keep his promos short, concise, to the point. He isn't a very good in-ring worker, so anytime you have to get him in the ring for more than 10 minutes, you got to put him against somebody who, like an Orton or somebody of that caliber, that can carry him to a good match. And it's really the entire basis of him being over is his appearance and a mystique that's been built up about him. And that mystique that we have built up around Roman Reigns is slowly starting to get peeled away with these little, oh, I wish I could be there promos that the WWE is having him do right now. And even if I was really just against Roman Reigns and I really just hated him and I wanted him to fail, I would still be like, WWE, you are screwing this guy up right now.
Definitely. I mean, if it was up to me, I wouldn't even have Roman Reigns make appearances, period. I would just have him do his rehabilitation, do whatever. Maybe have a video package to remind people who he is.
Dude, I
Every now and
understand
then.
the idea of out of sight, out of mind, but people aren't going to forget Reigns when that music hits, when he returns. He
Right.
could be gone for 6 months. He's not going to, but he could be gone for 6 months. And when he returns, all it takes is that da-na, 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 da, da, and people explode. They freaking know who it is, and then the camera pans up and you see him in the crowd. People are going to freak out. Honestly, it would be a bigger deal if people didn't have him in their minds, because then it would be a bigger surprise.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like you're ruining his inevitable return by humanizing him with these segments. And, like you said, peeling back the mystique. I just feel like the character's being handled in all the wrong ways. And I just really don't even care for these promos. So I hope that, that's the end of it. We won't see another one of these for a while,
Well, that's
until he
obviously
returns.
not going to happen.
Right.
We're going to see one of these every month until he comes back. I guarantee it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're definitely right about that. And I'll just be face palming all the while.
The only way we won't see one on the Raw after Survivor Series is if he returns at Survivor Series.
Yeah, I think you're right on the money with that. And it's a shame because it really shouldn't be that hard to work with a character like this. The formula seems very basic, and I love the parallels they drew between him and Goldberg. Maybe it was Roman Reigns who deserved the Goldberg chance all this time. So,
Well, I mean, Ryback's streak was incredibly similar to Goldberg, so that's perfectly
yeah.